interesting dynamic that hovers over the draft, especially because the free agency class at this position isn't great. Your thoughts on the running back position in this class?
Yeah, well, I love Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
It was a really hard Heisman vote. I ended up voting for Travis Hunter, but you could absolutely have made a great case for Ashton Genty and what he does being the degree of difficulty, right? Like, he had more yards after contact than most teams did.
Right. We were
in
amazed by
football.
that during
Yeah.
the year. Right.
Like, it
right.
was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So to me, he's one of those special backs that you go and you use a first-round pick and maybe, like, first half of the first round.
Yeah.
Which we saw Bijan Robinson. It feels like there's special guys that you do that. But I guess I was wondering, as someone who, you guys are so much more plugged in the NFL, if the NFL's come around on running backs, because it used to be don't draft running backs.
Right,
like there's you can get a bunch of them, get them in the late rounds. But it feels like maybe with what Saquon Barkley has done, what Derrick Henry has done, that like maybe you should use whatever,
Yes.
how valuable a pick it is to get a special guy like an Ashton Genty. So I would for him. But I think there's other guys like Caleb Johnson I think is going to be a
Sure.
really good pro.
Right.
Interested to see like how Travion Henderson does here this
Yeah.
week. So I'm very interested in the running back class.
Yeah, sure. I think there's some guys there. And then go ahead, you answer that.
But I think
there.
you're right. I
Right.
think what happened was the NFL has allowed itself to believe running backs are interchangeable, especially when you get an older guy. Might be special, but he's older.
Yeah.
I'd rather go younger. I'd rather
Get a few more years.
pay less, and you never know when he's going to fall off a cliff. So we're not going to prioritize a guy who is different from the rest. And we saw last year between Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry,
Joe Mixon.
there is a difference between the best and the run-of-the-mill interchangeable part running back. And, at the draft level, like, there are certain guys who do merit high selection. Bijan Robinson, and I don't know that they've used him as effectively as they could in Atlanta, but like Jahmyr Gibbs, everybody was surprised when he went
that's what
12th.
it is.
Well,
Exactly
he's
right.
one of the best in the NFL.
No doubt. I mean,
So-
you could argue he's second to Saquon Barkley. He's that damn good.
But even like the criticism of
Yeah.
those picks last year with the Lions, right,
Yes.
was why are you doing this so early?
Right.
I
Right.
wonder if that changes
The
finally.
players changed because I think the teams at the top of the NFL right now have the guys you're mentioning, right? And that's where the league is going to go. Well, look at the 49ers.
Right,
They
you
went
gotta
to Christian
copy them,
McCaffrey. Right, that's the way it is. Christian McCaffrey, right? You see, hey, the Bills, even though it might not have been a superstar, you see James Cooks and what he'd done to their football team. Certainly. Detroit, the two-headed monster you're talking about, and of course, what we saw in Philadelphia this year. And let's not forget about Kyron Williams and what he's done for the Rams. I think the league has realized there's a difference between those upper echelon guys, and they can change your football team. And I think there will be a little more value than what we've seen.
Here's the best example. It
Yeah.
happened in the draft 20 years ago.
Right,
Ronnie Brown went second.
right.
Cedric Benson went fourth.
I was,
Cadillac Williams
with
went
my
fifth.
Bucks, right.
And it's, you know what? That's never going to happen again, because it was not long after that the NFL started to pivot away from the workhorse running back with two or three different guys. Sean
Yeah.
Payton used 3 in New Orleans. And I feel like we could get back to that. It's not just, hey, there's going to be a Bijan Robinson taking 8th and a Jahmyr Gibbs taking 12th. We could get back to a year where there's a cluster of guys that go in the top 5.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think like this year, I'm less excited about the receivers. Like I think there's 2 great tight ends,
Right,
but like
100%.
we're going to be talking more about like linemen, right? So maybe it's a running back. Maybe that's an interesting storyline this year when you don't have a bunch of can't miss first round receivers. The quarterbacks are down compared to last year's class. So that's why I'm looking there, because I really think Ashton Genty is that special.
100%. I feel like Ashton Genty, and I think we had these conversations, like if he was at Ohio State or one of these other power schools, he wins the Heisman
Yes,
this year.
100%.
The fact that he was at Boise hurt him, and not to say I'm not disrespecting Travis Hunter, but let's talk about Travis
Well,
Hunter.
hang on a second.
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
curious.
sorry,
What do
sorry.
you guys think his
Yeah.
ceiling is? Like, is he a top 5 guy?
I don't think he's a top 5 guy, but I think like if he went anywhere in the top 15 to 20, I'm going, he's fine with that's fine with me. He's of that class of Jahmyr Gibbs and
Yeah, I
Bijan
think-
Robinson, of those type of guys. He's in that class.
Yeah, like
certainly.
10 to 15.
Right.
I would take him.
I would too. Yeah. I mean, he is like, when you see him, and I know you haven't watched a lot
No,
of him.
my son's a big
He's-
Ashton Genty
okay.
guy, and he's shown me
He's
highlights
a
on
bowling
YouTube.
ball.
He's incredible.
Let alone he
Does
can
he
run
start
away
with the
from
highlights
people.
where he just stands there, like he just
Stands
like
straight up.
intimidating? Yeah, like right in the backfield.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.